Oh, the weather outside is frightful.
But inside is so delightful.
It's Christmas in July.
Let's review.
Let's review, let's review.
Oh, let's review, Archie!
Season 2.
Bum.
Bum.
Alright, I wasn't going to do Edith for the whole intro, but I had to squeeze her in there somewhere. Alright, how you doing, BlueDragonFive?
I'm well.
Alright, cool. So, tonight on Christmas in July, we will be talking about...
Hello? Oh, jeez, we're off to a great start.
Hey, I'm gonna turn off my webcam.
Sorry about that, folks. A little bit of seasonal technical difficulties.
Yeah, I don't know why, because it's like I restarted my computer and everything to make sure that it'd be running smoothly. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe if I would have just turned on left my computer on. I mean, I've been running it for 6 hours. Anyways. Blah, blah. So, BlueDragonFive, would you say that All in the Family, this episode is probably, of course, All in the Family. I'll let you set it up soon, but, it's a show that definitely has a lot of laughs, a lot of humor, but also a lot of big subject matter. And would you say that so far in our Christmas in July lineup, this is probably the most serious in tone that we've gotten?
Oh, certainly.
All right, so with that in mind, why don't you set up for the people that are uncultured, such as myself to a certain extent, what exactly the premise of All in the Family is?
Sure. So, folks, let me paint you a little mini picture here about All in the Family. So All in the Family is pretty much just kind of your classic kind of look at a simple family and a simple New York family back in the 70s, essentially, and it's basically your kind of your Long Island Queens type family. They're located in Queens specifically. You get Archie, Edith, Gloria, and their son-in-law Mike Stivic, and they grow, they live, and here's the thing that set All in the Family apart from any other show. It wasn't just a typical sitcom. It was funny, don't get me wrong, but also, as Tiki's kind of outlined for us, it tackled political issues, and it would take a serious subject matter, but also infuse humor into it, but not take away from the seriousness of what was discussed. So a point was made, and the big premise of All in the Family is that with these subject matters, basically it was a really realistic show. It would take on it was really topical. That's the word I'm looking for. It was a topical show that would take on the topics of the time, of the 70s, and getting into the 80s, I suppose. Because it ran for many seasons. Mm-hmm. And basically, Archie Bunker was your protagonist. He's what the huge linchpin, the spine of the show. This is the guy you watch the show for. And Archie Bunker was kind of this bigot who was kind of your learning lightning rod. So Archie Bunker was just kind of this loudmouth bigot, and he was dumb. He didn't quite get the intricacies of the issues. He took a side, took the Republican side, and of course he had the meathead, Mike Stivic as kind of the uber left wing,
Well, I don't think he's so much a left wing. I think he's more kind of I don't think he's so much a meathead. I'm sorry. Well, is that really kind of part of his character? He's just a throwy guy.
I'm saying he's called Meathead. That's his nickname.
Oh, okay.
I would say Archie calls him a Meathead. That's kind of fun.
Because when I think Meathead, I think of someone who's like, "Yeah, bro, gonna go lift some weights." And
that's how Archie sees him. He sees him as something kind of
so Archie sees him like that, but in reality, he's more kind of like just a kind of super liberal, kind of thoughtful guy.
Yeah, I mean, I feel a little embarrassed here if I'm getting the sides right here. It's been a while. He's Democratic. He's like for the more open-minded side of the political stuff.
Okay.
Yeah. Anyway, so it basically be Archie Bunker, kind of like. We have a subject matter of whether it be like racism or like politics and whatever. He'd take one side and just kind of blindly spout off what he knew about it, because his point of view was absolutely correct. There's nothing wrong with it because it's the American way. And Mike would point out kind of the legitimate points of like, well, maybe it's Archie. We shouldn't be that way because it's not nice to people. Something along those lines. And then Archie would just say, well, it says in the Bible. And he misquotes the Bible. The point is, Archie is kind of the lovable bigot. He would say. If you had no context for the guy, it was just the most offensive thing, but he'd buy it back with how stupid he sounded, misquoting or saying it wrong. And in the end of this episode, he would learn something. He wouldn't change as a character entirely, but he would learn something. Like he would he will talk to like the black family, the Jeffersons, who eventually got their own show, as everyone knows.
Of course.
And like he would, or any black character, of course, famous example being Sammy Davis Jr. That's one of the best examples because he would talk to Sammy Davis Jr. and Archie Bunker, he's enlightened about racism. He knows somewhat. Bear in mind, he talks to his black neighbors. He basically respects black people, but he just doesn't get the nuances of let's not refer to them in a defamatory manner, not using the N-word or anything, but just saying, well, you colored peoples, and you basically just kind of saying, oh yeah, well you're lucky to not be slaves, something along those lines. He just be misrepresenting, but he means it in the best possible way, and you forgive him because he's an idiot.
Exactly.
Okay,
there's two things that kind of gleam from All in the Family. One, I feel like it was really groundbreaking in terms of it was the first show that allowed the subject of racism unto itself to be viewed at as kind of a joke, as in people who think that way, it shouldn't necessarily be mocked, but there should be a certain humor and kind of like, oh, that's just sort of a ridiculous thought process, and we need to kind of address it for how ridiculous it is. In a way, it almost kind of reminds me of the humor that Dave Chappelle pulled off with Chappelle's Show. I don't know. I don't think you're a big Chappelle Show fan, but Dave Chappelle essentially did that, except for what he did was he kind of made fun of stereotypes. So all his skits, or a lot of his skits on Chappelle's Show, would be essentially like promoting a black stereotype, but doing it in a way of like, look how ridiculous this stereotype is. So, like I said, I feel like All in the Family is very influential in that way. And also, I just want to note, is it fair to say that this show is kind of a master of the bottle episode?
Oh yeah, they practically. See, here's the thing, T. All in the Family, along with I Love Lucy, is one of the most historic shows in the history of television because they invented a lot of the stuff that kind of made television from that point forward. I Love Lucy essentially got the TV. Basically, was like one of the first TV shows. I Love Lucy is one of the first groundbreaking ones, and then All in the Family kind of modernized the I Love Lucy stuff into the next generation.
Sure,
so it's basically like All in the Family's most famous thing is that they. Sorry, not I Love Lucy. All in the Family's most famous thing was that they taped live in front of a studio audience, and that's where we got the first advent of the whole, like, shows would do it later on, where you have someone at the beginning off screen who's an actor on the show, whether it be like Mike or Gloria or Archie, saying, All in the Family was taped in front of a live studio audience, something along those lines, and then also something at the end. It was either at the beginning or at the end. They'd always say that just because they were really proud of the fact, and that's why I have shows later on, even like Kenan and Kel. Like, Kenan and Kel was filmed in front of a live studio audience. That's where they get it from.
Yeah, I mean, it really makes for some great sort of like reactions from the audience, some live reactions.
And I'm glad you brought that up, Tiki, because All in the Family was the first show not to use what's called canned laughter,
right?
The laugh track, and they were very proud. They had a live audience. They got actual live laughs. The only person who really did live audiences before was the Honeymooners, when they just shot their pilots or had like live audiences occasionally.
Okay.
But really, so All in the Family's regular. Also, they did the 3-camera setup. That's what it's known as. Like, ordinarily, just be like, look at I Love Lucy. It's one setup, one camera at a time. Like, you can't really cut to a character's reactions real quick.
Yeah, so that's really revolutionary when it comes to just sitcoms in general. I mean, that would set the tone for decades.
Like, you'll notice, even in this episode, All in the Family, what it really does well is, like, it has these great quiet pauses of, like, when the laughter drops, again, you have such natural laughter because something is funny, even when it's, like, in the middle of a really kind of a tense scene. You have the laughter coming in at the funny bits of that, but also, like, these moments of pause of, like, the seriousness and the characters taking it in, like Archie kind of taking in what he's heard and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, you have those moments in there. They're very important. So,
all right, so with that in
let me
mind,
set up this episode for you. So anyway, so at this point in All in the Family, we are in season 7. So this is like after the birth of Mike and Gloria's son Joey, which he's mentioned in this episode, not seen, because kids back in the day, not even back in the day, but even nowadays, until the modern family generation, kids were just kind of adoptive. Like, said, well, we give them kids, and we have like the whole birth story. And or an actress gets pregnant, we need to justify it somehow, because sitcoms hate having kids. Look at Everybody Loves Raymond. The kids are there, and maybe the episode revolves around them, but they're always off screen the whole episode.
Pretty much, yeah.
And Joey was a similar rat. Like, you had later in All in the Family's first spin-off, not the Jeffersons, but like the continuation, Archie's Place.
Mm-hmm.
They had even at the end of All in the Family, when Gloria and Mike left because they didn't want to do the show anymore, they introduced a young character named Stephanie, who was Archie and Edith's niece, and she actually had a really good story. She was one of the good kid actresses. She like her father abandoned her, and Archie and Edith looked after her.
Okay.
And like she was like Archie's little sidekick at the bar. And basically something like that. And that's later on. It's like they All in the Family, along with the other shows in history, like Cosby Show or A Different Strokes. That's when they did the classic stuff, like bring in someone to spice up the show after a while. So season 7 kind of had that with bringing in characters. They're trying to test the waters, trying to spice things up, giving him a kid, and like that borders in the house. Like when Mike and Gloria moved to their house across the street because they used to live inside the house, they brought in Teresa, who is a character you'll see only in this season because she wasn't popular and she left.
Oh God!
So they would test things out like that. So you'd have characters walking and going, and sometimes they stick around, sometimes they wouldn't. You had Maude, who was Edith's a relative, and she got her own show, The Golden Girls.
Oh yeah, right.
Wait, yeah, I think it's Golden Girls. It's either that or
isn't it Maude?
Yeah, it's Maude. I'm sorry, I'm thinking.
Yeah, no, I don't think it's Golden Girls. I don't think that has anything to do with All in the Family.
It doesn't have anything, but Maude is and then there's Maude. That's her.
Yeah, right.
So that's from All in the Family, and so is the Jeffersons. That's
into a whole shot for shot of that theme song.
That's pretty much where we are at this point. So again, this is after the birth of Joey, and we're just kind of comfortably in the whole established bridge. All the family is born at this point. We're just I guess this is a season before people started to leave, if I'm right.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Okay, so let's get right into the recap then.
This episode's called Draft Dodger.
Yes.
Okay,
and it's like I said, it's definitely got some really big, heavy-hitting issues, but. Folks, this is just kind of a teaser of what's to come for our big emotional gut punch of an All in the Family episode later on in Christmas in July.
It's like all in the Family episodes, they can get really serious or get really funny, and also usually their holiday ones are always really kind of emotional.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so let's get into it.
All right.
So we start in a really funny manner. So after the whole, and by the way, the opening All in the Family, as I'm sure you know, is the inspiration for the opening of the Family.
Oh, of course.
Okay, so after the famous song plays, we got Archie singing.
Let me just say that, when I was a kid on Nick at Night, the All in the Family was literally oh, it's the show with the lady with the funny voice.
Oh yes, Edith Bunker, gotta love her. Gene Stapleton.
Because right at the beginning, you got her at the piano.
Miller plays songs that make a hit parade.
And so literally my entire view of that show completely revolved around the woman with the funny voice.
I'll tell you what I loved. I love the end credits. I just love the whole when you the way you travel through the block.
Mm-hmm.
And I loved it when Family Guy did that for the one episode they had an All in the Family style ending with the Peter thinking he was raped after he went to get a prostate exam. That one.
Oh God.
So really, I love the All in the Family stuff. Okay, so we start the episode. Archie's going home from work, and he's singing deck dolls. Deck the halls with balls of holly. Fa la 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 la. He's butchering the song.
Oh yeah, he's absolutely butchering it. Yeah.
You take Susie, I'll take Molly. Fa la 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 la. It's hilarious. Good old. Again, all the actors in this show, they're fantastic. They really are. So Edith, in a loving way, she welcomes. Oh, Archie, welcome. There's this. Oh, Archie, you're home. And he's she's surprised he's home. I thought the stores would be closed. No, the stores are open.
They all open, Edith. They want to make money.
It's the best time of the year to make a buck.
Oh, Archie, let me pull you underneath the mistletoe. Happy mistletoe, Archie.
So remember, it's
there we have our first Christmas trope.
Yep, she tells him, first of all, she tells him to leave the house first. That's Edith Bunker stuff. Archie, go leads him out the door, then comes in. Oh, yeah, it's so sweet. She pulls out the mistletoe, which, first Christmas trope, along with Christmas carols. That's we had a one Christmas carol at the beginning here, we get a few at the end. And again, it's Archie's a guy who obviously doesn't really show his feelings a lot. The fact he's kissing his wife. Yeah, that's really sweet. And he's like kissing again. What is that? Stuffing. He says, oh, let me try it again. Oh, it's really sweet. You don't really see that said Archie too much. Really sweet. So, Archie has bought something at the store, and he's wondering, what'd you get? Oh, I got something for Pinky Peterson. He's joining us for dinner tonight.
All right.
You got battery. Now, Pinky Peterson essentially is someone Archie works with at the. Works at a factory. I can't remember. It's not a brewery per se. I don't. Yeah, he works in He works in a place like a forklift and stuff. So he works like a factory setting of some sort.
Is he like a recurring character?
Well, you know what? To be honest with you, Archie had a bunch of pals like this, so I can't quite remember. Again, it's been a while since I've watched All in the Family consecutively. I remember he has other James Cromwell. You know James Cromwell, right?
Sounds familiar.
Oh, the actor.
Sounds familiar.
He's like Captain Stacy from Spider-Man 3. He was in The Babe. He was in the Stephen King movie, the Green Mile. He was the war. He's had a long career.
I believe you. He
was in Big Hero 6. He was. Remember, he was the doctor in Big Hero 6.
Oh, he was the bad villain.
Yes, he was the bad villain. Man, Anyway, so points like that, he played
Scooby-Doo villain, I should say.
All right, enough. So he played.
Professor Callahan.
Okay, he played Stretch Cunningham, who was a regular on the show, and I'm saying he had a bunch of friends like that. He was like always these funny names. He mentioned Pinky Peterson a few times. I'm not sure if this is the first time we met him or not, but he has a gift for Pinky Peterson. What is that gift, Tiki?
Oh, well, first of all, let me just mention that I actually had one of these hanging up in my house for years. Not just at Christmas time, just hanging in my house. So, it is a battery-operated spitting Santa Claus. And now, what you do is you put the batteries in, and then it moves its mouth like that, but that's disgusting, so it's kind of disgusting, so you don't want to look at that. That's disgusting,
so don't look at that.
Great running joke. And then all you do is squeeze Santa's tie, and he does something funny.
Yeah. So Edith does it first. It doesn't work. Says, no, you gotta do it like he turns it around and look at it, and then she does it, or someone does it anyway. Then it squirts him. It's a squirt gag. So the old squirting Santa gag.
Every time I get one on me, I gotta go to the John. I apologize. My Archie bunker is not nearly as good as yours.
Yeah. Yeah, well, you try to get it right after all these years now. Okay, so. Oh, yeah, Edith, every time it sounds like I gotta go to John. So he goes to the John, the bathroom, because also that was all the family's kind of Psycho-esque big commendation that they had a toilet in their show. Psycho was the first movie to show a toilet, and All in the Family was the first show to have a toilet.
Oh, okay.
Like you open All in the Family, the series with a toilet flush. That was big. The censor was kind of had a battle with censor to that one.
Okay. All right, and then we get our big introduction of the title character of the episode.
Dave Brewster.
Yes, David Brewster, and he's looking for Mike, and then Edith answers the door. Oh, well, Mike lives next door, but he'll be right over. Why don't you come on inside?
So apparently Dave is a high school pal of Mike's when he was in Chicago, and he's visiting from Canada.
Oh, yes.
And he was first surprise for Mike. He and Mike know each other, wouldn't be expecting to say, "Hey, Merry Christmas." So let's see. So Mike enters with a whole armful of gifts. It's really funny. It's like the How the Grinch Stole Christmas style gift layout when you're carrying like this huge pile of presents. You can't see
exactly. Yeah.
So anyway, so he's carrying a bunch of gifts, and then he's surprised by him. Oh, hey, they reunite. Hey. And then, now importantly, they really set up kind of a good mystery here at first, of Mike just kind of getting a little not serious.
Well, I mean, to tell you the truth, the title of the episode kind of gives it away.
Well, I know we know that, but they don't know that. That's what I'm saying.
So back in the day, didn't you still have TV guides back in the day that would give the title of the episode?
I'm saying I'm saying the studio audience probably didn't know.
Okay, fair enough. I'll give it to the studio audience.
The point is, it's well written, well laid out. Okay, so
sure. I'll absolutely give you that. Yeah, it is. The information is well laid out.
Yeah, it's well set up here. Mike just kind of not seriously, but kind of somber. I'm not somber. You know what I mean? He's just kind of saying "Wait, you here for good?" He's just real curious about it. Wait, you here for good?
Right.
Just no, just visiting.
Mm-hmm.
So then we have, they get into their old routines, and Mike, when he has old friends on the show, they always do these kind of comedy routines. Because remember, Mike is played by Rob Reiner, who's son of a famous comedic personality, Carl Reiner. So it runs in the family,
right.
and Rob Reiner runs Castle Rock, in case you're curious. Anyway, so...
So wait, what is Mike like some sort of like sketch comedy artist or something? Or
No. I'm just saying the actor's funny like this, and he's
I know, but like in terms of like the context of the character, because you're saying he's always doing these comedy sketches. Because I gotta say, this whole German bit kind of caught me off guard. I didn't really know what to make of it.
Well, I mean, I remember when Billy Crystal came on the show. Billy Crystal was like a friend of Mike Stivickson. Like, he got into like an old routine where like Billy Crystal would jump into his arms like, "Hey, you knucklehead."
Okay.
So I mean,
it's just kind of a running gag more than anything else.
Yeah, but that guy probably was like, it's going to be like a college frat thing or something. You know, they basically they went to high school. They probably did funny things together. Mike's a funny guy. Okay, so they go into the Dr.
Oh, wait. Oh, yeah, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
So they go into the Dr. Beinhager routine. So basically the old German routine where he says, and they said ever wasn't. Who said it ever wasn't? You know, something along those lines. And he goes back and forth to find like the Heil Hitler thing. He says, no, a little lower.
Then Mike's like, oh, what do you think of the jokes, Ma? And then Edith's just like, oh, I love them, and I don't even understand German.
Yeah, well, we're not doing the German routine justice.
No.
I mean, only Ralph Garman and Kevin Smith could do a different style of justice, but no, we're
pretty much, yeah.
Yeah, you've never heard them do the Germans, have you?
I think I have once or twice.
Okay. Anyway, so
my fair share of Babylon.
Yeah, really funny German routine these two guys get cooked up with. Okay, so basically, David is invited to dinner by Mike and Edith. And I love this. It's kind of like almost like a Jaws-like setup, or it's kind of like it's basically Archie and Sheldon from The Big Bang Theory have the same kind of gag. I really like that that's their chair. You don't sit in their chair. So basically, you can tell David's sitting in Archie's chair. The people who know the show know. Oh man, Dave, you guys.
I didn't know.
I'm just saying, I knew that's a setup right there with him in Archie's chair.
Right.
Like unless you're Sammy Davis Jr., you don't get to sit in Archie's chair.
I know of people that are very territorial like that with their chairs, so.
Yeah. Okay, so let's see. It's also kind of brought up here that David is kind of taking his chances in the States here.
Yeah.
And also, he hasn't told his family that he's here yet. You know, he doesn't want to get into like all the stuff around the holidays. He doesn't really know how to break it to him. Again, they're being kind of a little cryptic here about what exactly he's doing here. I believe has Gloria entered at this point? Or is that
she's
Okay, so Gloria has also entered at this point. It's like, oh, you, and like she knows everything because Mike's a really open husband. He's told her everything about the guy. So let's see. So there's tension in the air because again, kind of a Jaws-like setup here. Archie is the lightning rod for all the political drama and stuff, and they know all they know is this guy. He shouldn't be in the States, and he's from Canada. The fact that he's from Canada alone is going to spark conversation. He says, "Oh, what's Canada got over there? We don't have over here." That sort of thing.
Oh, Canada! So you're saying that Canada is better than the U.S. of A?
Yeah, that's that sort of stuff. And basically, any local issues. So they. Yeah, but also they mentioned it's kind of mentioned right here is there's tension here because he is technically a fugitive from justice, which of course with Archie not going to go well. And then it's a fun bit here is he says, "Oh, cheer up, it's going to be fun. We'll just you won't tell Archie, and we'll screw around the issues." And
David specifically. I have the whole list.
Not yet. We're not there yet. We're almost there.
Oh, I'm sorry. But I want to list off.
I know. I wrote it down because it's too hilarious to pass up. Basically saying, cheer up, and says, "Oh, it's no problem. No one's going to bring it up." And then we hear,
"Oh God, I hate starch in my pants or in my shirt."
Yeah, it's shirt because he got it sprayed on his shirt. It keeps getting sprayed. "I hate starch in my shirts, Edith." And then this Rob Reiner again, wonderful player, says, "One problem." So basically, okay, you should be warned. Archie's really conservative. So here it is. We're going to steer clear of some subject matter here, which includes Tiki. Go through the list.
Politics, religion, sex, books, movies, war, peace, guns, grapes, lettuce. You know what? Maybe you better leave.
And Mike's no, I'm kidding. Stay. We'll distract from it.
That was probably one of the better laughs of the episode, I'd say.
Yep. Really hilarious. Anyways, and then like Archie's going, and really just again, just a funny bigoted line, just saying, again, just it's so hilarious, just coming from the uneducated point of view. He doesn't really It's like he's the guy who doesn't take a moment to think about what he's saying, so that's why you forgive Archie for a lot of what he's saying here. He just says, so they must have invented starch. They made starch to torture white people.
Right. Oh boy.
Oh, that's so funny.
Okay, so I feel like I'm in the inside of a tin can.
Right. So they meet, and basically, it's like David's like saying that. Basically, Archie and David meet, and it's basically confirming that, you're not a hippie. Like, I expect you to be like Mike. That's basically be a hippie, like the meathead. Be a hippie, long hair, coming down to here, all that stuff.
A shirt that says, "Kiss me where it counts."
Yeah. So then basically we have the famous chair gag, as always with All in the Family. It says, I'm in your chair. I'm sorry. Well, you're still in the way. Get out of the way.
Oh, God.
So where are you from, David? Where are you from? It says, up north. Gloria trying to cover for him, like they're trying to get their story straight here. He doesn't know what to say. Gloria might do all the talking for him, essentially. It says, up north. Oh yeah, so around Rhode Island. Just Mike. Just Archie thinks it's around Rhode Island, and then then Mike just comes to a perfect line after all the laughter sets, just saying, yeah, somewhere around there.
But Edith runs in and she's being all hospitable. She's like, "Oh, David, do you want to wash your hands before supper? I'll show you where to go."
Well, he can go to his own place here. He can wash his hands somewhere else. And he realizes that he's staying for dinner.
Oh, yeah.
And he says, "Well, Edith, how big a bird do we got?" 20 pounds, Archie. He says, "Oh, okay, it's fine with me if the meathead if you can cut down, meathead."
Pinky eats and he also mentions that Pinky eats like a mule.
But he probably would have insulted Mike all the same.
Right.
Because he invited Pinky Peterson, so he's going to eat a big portion.
and then what gets brought up that spurs Edith to kind of blurt it out? Oh, Archie's just like, well, don't you have a family that you're gonna dinner with in Rhode Island? And then Edith, like the lovable, naive person she is, she's just like, "Oh, he's from Canada."
And again, it's like she wasn't in on the plan. She didn't.
No. Oh, I love it. All right, so Archie's just like, "Hello?"
Hello? I'm here.
Archie's just like, "Well, what are you doing in Canada? You into logs or whale meat or what?"
I'm sorry, sir. Don't do the Santa gag here?
Yeah.
Sorry, there was like something about setting up something, and
No, yeah. Archie's setting up the Santa gag to Mike.
No, it sounded like I think David's like out of the room or something. He's setting up something. All right then. Oh no, I remember what it is. Okay, I'm sorry. It was like, well, I don't mind setting up another chair. It's as if you don't mind setting up a chair. Edith,
right.
Chair. Basically, get another chair for the table. I'll get another chair for the table. Edith, get another chair for the table. Real funny. Okay, I'm sorry. So yeah, he says she's from Canada, and then Mike tries to distract Archie with the whole well, what do you got there, Archie? What do you got there? He says, oh yeah, his little thing here is you put the batteries in, and you look at the face. Yeah, it does.
Well, that's a little disgusting. So you don't look at that.
It's a little disgusting. So don't look there. It's just you squeeze the tie. Of course, Mike's wise. He knows what the thing is, so he just says, no. Basically, he waits for Archie to turn around, then grabs the tie and splashes Archie again.
Okay, and then enters, what's her name?
Yeah, so this caught me off because again, it's been a while, so I forgot about this character entirely. Because again, I barely. Right. So this is Teresa. So let me give you the backstory. Here's the backstory. So
really quick.
I haven't really seen this one.
Cliff
I know. I'm telling you, it's Cliff Notes.
All right.
She's a nursing student who helped with. She's a nursing student who rented Mike and Gloria's room. She met Archie after Archie got surgery. That's how they met, and basically they let her rent the room. And she wasn't popular, and she was off the show after a season. That's it in a nutshell.
So to Lost fans, she's basically the Nikki and Paulo of All in the Family.
I guess.
So
she's like,
Apollo are characters that Lost. They were so unpopular that the writers of Lost literally wrote a whole episode about killing them off in as brutal a way as possible and making it like a big deal.
I'll tell you what happened when I was watching this. At first, I was like, this strange woman came downstairs. I was like, what the?
Pretty much that was my reaction too.
I really knew nothing about this character. I really watched all of season 7. Right? I just watched it's been a while, especially for 7 onward. It's the first 6 I have on DVD, so I watched those. So like season 7 onwards, been a little here and there. And I just looked it up because like, did I rewound it first? Like, wait, did I miss something? How did she? This I looked it up. Says, she moved into the room. That's how she's there, and she wasn't popular because. How can you imagine not being so? So she's coming down singing Feliz Navidad. I think it's too. I think the reason she's gone is because it's too obvious. It's like you have a stranger in the house, just obvious fodder for Archie, and you want to work a little harder than just having her be there.
Oh, sure.
Like being, something's out of place in the house. Ooh,
I jinx you.
So basically, Archie's like, no Feliz Navidad, and pretty much saying like,
God doesn't want to hear that.
So what, you think God doesn't understand Spanish? I'm saying Spanish ain't one of God's first languages.
Oh, don't give me the constipated face.
So that's a lovely thing about Gloria. Gloria is sweet like her mother, yet she at times gives facial expressions like her father.
Right.
Enough with the constipated face.
Okay, and then there's a knock on the door, and Archie goes to answer it, but before he can answer it, Edith rushes in.
Oh, wait.
It's Mr. Peterson!
Wait!
What?
I'm channeling my inner Archie Bunker, but no, seriously, wait, because he has a really funny line that says, the Bible is not in Spanish, it's Adam and Eve, not Desi and Cheryl.
Yeah.
Sorry. Then, like, the mistletoe. Also, she really moved real fast on the mistletoe with
she really did.
David.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
I just want to point that out. She really moved in fast with that guy.
I'm like, okay, so she's kind of yeah.
That's why she's not on the show anymore. A little too forward.
Right.
Okay, so then they get on door rings, and in classic Edith Bunker fashion, says, "I'll get it."
I mean, she sounds like so excited. She's like all jacked up, like
hilarious.
Oh, I'm gonna answer the door.
She's like she has the energy of Norma Bates. It's like Norma Bates' grandma.
Pretty much. Oh God.
All right. Okay. Also, like Archie had a really funny line too. It was like, like a police dog, always rush into the door. Stifle yourself, Edith. Okay, so okay, let's see. So, what you take us to the rest, Iggy? So
before they open the door, Archie kind of gives them a little warning that Pinky's son was killed in Nam. So, to kind of avoid that subject, and then of course that sets David up.
I love the look.
Oh boy,
I love that shot. Just like you see the concerned David looking the mic like,
right, like he knows what that means.
Yep, and Vietnam has always been like a subject in the show, so that's neat.
Oh yeah, definitely. Isn't that like one of the main sort of plot points? Is kind of the differences in Mike and Archie between Vietnam.
Yeah, I should also mention it's a thing with American Dads based off Archie and Mike. Really, it's what all American Dad is based off of.
Well, who's the Mike in that situation?
Well, Haley. Mike, yeah.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
That's where that show really got its fire starting with those two. But continuing forward, so you get to the door and again, a real wonderful setup. That's like the writing wise, that is like a brilliant idea. Like you just have Archie just kind of the hilarity like cranked up and says, "Oh boy," and then you just have this moment of seriousness dropped on, like a bomb of seriousness dropped right now. They're setting up the next act of like, oh, and by the way, guys, Pinky Peterson's coming in. Let's not just sort of avoid talk of the war and stuff. Like you and I get into a meeting. Let's not get into the war while Pinky's here. Mm-hmm. Open the door and hey, Pinky, and the sweet Pinky brings the Christmas flower, the Christmas flower, the red one.
And then Archie gives Pinky the Santa. Now the mouth's moving, but don't look at that because it's a little disgusting.
Yeah, you don't look at that. It's disgusting. So don't look at it.
Hey, Arch, does it work on batteries? Oh yeah, look, it's right here.
And squirt, and I gotta change the shirt before he just forget the shirt. I gotta Work at the shirt.
Oh god. Oh god.
Okay, so that's basically the excuse to get Archie out of the room, and then we have like a wonderful little payoff here, starting with the setup here of like David meeting Pinky, and again tension in the air. Woo.
Right, they're shaking hands as we go to commercial break.
And both of them say Merry Christmas to each other. That's been back big time.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Let's see, they're all singing like 12 Days of Christmas. Oh, by the way, I guess Christmas dinner, that's another little trope we should probably put in there. You know, Christmas Eve dinner. Which, as we've seen, like stuff like Christmas Vacation always goes wrong.
And also, the unexpected guest at Christmas dinner.
Okay, unexpected guest. Yeah, that's a new one.
Yeah, well, I mean, as told by Ginger.
Well, there's
been some.
Right, okay. So anyway, also they're doing there's Christmas songs. They're singing them 12 Days of Christmas, and Archie, he can't keep up with the words. He just...
He's doing Partridge in the Pear Tree. He's actually doing it too soon.
Yep. And they're all drinking like a little bit of Christmas. Like he said, if I drink too much, I'll get dizzy. Yeah. And and Archie says, no one would notice.
Pretty much, yeah. I think.
And then there's this really sweet bit. I love this. This is the classic Archie Edith stuff right here, where the Ediths, they're all sitting around there. She says, excuse me, I like to make what do you call it, a toast. And now, like saying grace or something, basically, like say he means toast, but he says grace. Mm-hmm. So he says, before we eat, I'd like to say, without Edith, I want to take a moment to thank Edith, without whom, and then basically she gets like, without whom, just keep going. Without whom, without, see, it keeps going like this every day. Try to say without whom, she gets like this, finish the toast. This is really sweet. Like it's so sweet. Like she means well, but she just won't let her. Again,
you're so sweet every Christmas.
What do you mean
every Christmas?
Sweetie every day.
All right. Then he's toasting the rest of the family.
Yep. And let's see. So. Oh yeah, that basically says, "Gloria, the apple of my eye," and then like saying, "Mike is the worm crawling into the apple."
Whoa.
Well, this is
That's one way to put it.
He means wormed his way into the family. Tiki, grow up.
I know. Oh, come on, you know me. I'll never grow up. I'm the Peter Pan of podcasting.
Okay, anyway, so then they also mention, well, that your grandson Joey. Oh yes, and Joey was thankfully upstairs.
Thank God.
Yep, thank God. And let's see, so.
And then Edith comes in with the turkey, and she's just a lunatic about it. She's like, "Get us ready!"
And and Mike just wants. See, Mike's he also is like he always eats a lot of the food in the bunker house, and like Archie's always trying to chase him away from the food.
So it's hilarious, yeah. Like Mike and Archie, they just instantly get into this little fight over
Mike's,
over the skin. I didn't even notice that the first time I watched it. I watched this twice.
I just want some skin, Archie. I just want some skin. No,
you're not getting any skin.
Okay, so let's see. So then, okay, so Archie tries to. It was basically Pinky Peterson wants to say something, I think, because they're all going around like kind of not like what are you thankful for type thing. They're all just kind of going around some holiday sentiment, I guess. So Pinky Peterson says something. He's pretty saying, this reminds me of Stevie. I like that Archie's trying to distract from Steve. Again, Archie is a sensitive guy.
Yes,
he is. Because he'll never show that. But again, with someone who's lost a son, obviously, and also in real life, Carol Connor, he had some problems with his son having a drug problem, so he can probably relate to
okay.
I think his son. I don't know if he was around when I think he was around when his son died. It might be not from Marlon Brando. I'm not sure, because it was like another kind of a similar situation there. I can't quite recall. But point is, like he tries to distract from the Stevie story so he doesn't bum out. It doesn't have Pinky Peterson bum himself out or go like maybe seasonally drunk, perhaps. I don't know. And basically tries to undercut with a Pollock. Because again, sweet Archie wants to help Pinky Peterson, but only by defaming, by just putting down another group. By putting down the Pollocks.
Right.
He tries to get a Pollock. Because remember, Tiki, in case you don't know, Mike is Polish. That's kind of the running joke. That's why he calls him a meathead also, because he calls him a dumb Pollock and stuff.
Oh, okay.
Tries to go for a Pollock joke, and it's a no-go. Everyone kind of shoots him down. And then basically Pinky Pearson goes into this little punching bag store. Said, Stevie, when he was a kid, he asked me for a punching bag. He says, well, it's either he said either punching bag or little sister.
I love this kind of like forced laugh. It's kind of a mix of like it's funny and it's also a little bit sad. It's like he's forcing himself to enjoy remembering his son so much. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's kind of a subtle little bit of kind of tragic acting there.
Then Archie goes into the story where he not a real story, just kind of briefly says, well, you know what I want for Christmas? I want a bike for Christmas. You know what I got? I got heavy underwear. And then there's well, what? Heavy underwear made me cry. Yeah, you're right. Made me cry.
It makes you no.
And Archie
Try
said,
that, Edith. You can never judge these things.
That's great. So,
I love how just Edith, it's like with everything she says it with the utmost excitement and enthusiasm and sincerity.
I'm not sure you're going to know this or not, but like, of course, the best thing with Edith Bunker, probably the best isolated all the family clip with Edith Bunker is the Peaches story.
I don't think I know of the Peaches story.
The canned peaches! Might
be ringing a bell. I'll have to look it up.
Because you can't say, I'm not going to do it. The point is, so Archie picks up on David having this kind of safety net around him with Mike and Gloria. If anytime he asks him something or wants, hey, Dave, you want to say something? You share a little seasonal story, and then pretty much like Mike and Gloria, they kind of cut him off just trying to like speaking for him. And Archie may be dumb as a rock sometimes, but he's picking up on some stuff.
Oh, he is.
And pretty much again to kind of like a whole he's from Canada, and he says, well, what's Canada got the U.S. It kind of gets in this whole Canada versus the U.S. debate, and then it kind of leads to like, what does Canada have the U.S. doesn't? And then, oh boy, I just love how the sound drops out of this, like the laughter.
Oh yeah, and the camera pans on David's face as he's contemplating what to say.
Very well directed. Again, the 3-camera setup served this show very well.
Mm-hmm.
Remember, this show was like number one for many years. So, it basically says freedom.
Oh boy,
and
that's just like tense. A mic drop moment.
It's like I know it's exactly. It's just exactly. It just gets very tense, very tense.
Oh yeah.
And then basically Archie's saying, "Well, that's ridiculous." Essentially, he goes like, "That's ridiculous." I can't quite remember the exact words, and saying, "Well, America is pretty great." And then David says, "America's not always free."
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And then I love the big pan in on Archie.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, like you said, really well directed, really good cinematography.
Oh, yeah. And essentially, I can't remember exactly, unless you want to take us through it, Tiki, but he says...
All I have is that Pinky tries to change the subject.
Well, basically, it comes to, he's not basically talking about the war and stuff, and basically, you're not a deserter, are you? Says, you're acting like he's a deserter or something. You're not a deserter. Says,
I'm not a deserter. Yeah, I didn't think so.
I love how straight he says the line, though, by the way. That's the thing. He says, well, you're acting like he's a deserter or something. He says, I'm not a deserter. I'm a draft dodger. And if you're going to say the name of the episode, that's the way you say it.
Right.
You gotta admit, that's the way you say the name of the episode within the episode, but with the seriousness of that moment, just saying, I'm a draft dodger.
Hear that, Gotham?
And then this is great. Just says, what did I say? It basically tells everyone to stop being. Hey, whoa, stop with the Edith. What did he say? And then it says, Edith just says, what did he say? Edith, and then Edith says, he said he's a draft dodger.
He said he was a draft dodger.
You never ask if they've learned that. If Archie was smart, he would learn after the first season. Never ask Edith a question that can be easily taken literally.
Yeah, pretty much.
And then there was this hilarious thing too of like Dragon. Because another thing was like a reason David wanted to leave was like it might be worried that Archie's going to call the FBI or something. Mike goes, no, he's not going to call the FBI. And as long as the FBI thing is now in the air, and
pretty much, Archie, we don't have enough to eat.
We won't have. I don't think we have enough turkey for the FBI. It's pretty much like, what if I call the FBI, Danny? Well, Archie, we're not gonna have enough turkey for the FBI. He says with the utmost sincerity.
She's worried about feeding those guys.
And again, the food is a big thing. It's through the episode. And then this next is like basically Archie saying, no one eats the food until I get an explanation. Why are you a draft dodger? He wants to know. Archie wants answers. And I love this. Like, Mike is sticking up for his friend here, just guy, and he's not afraid to put Archie in his place if he can.
Right.
He says, essentially they start bickering like they usually do. Mike saying lines like, "Put the flag away, Arch. He has his reasons. He has justified reasons for not doing that." And then basically it goes. I'm sorry. Do you want to take us through any of this, Tiki?
Oh, let's see.
And I can if you don't want to. But, go ahead.
No, it's fine. I just need to find in my notes exactly where we are. Yeah, at this point, basically, Archie, he's just like, oh, well, he might not owe an explanation to us, but he owes an explanation to the Army and the Marine Corps. Yeah. And then David says, like, well, I tried to talk to the president, but he couldn't come up with a better explanation for why I should kill people than I could come up for why I shouldn't.
Yeah.
Or something along those lines.
Yeah, that's it. And also, Archie's like looking towards Pinky and saying, "Hey, you hear that, Pinky? He writes a snotty letter to the commander-in-chief." Then, David smartly says, "Mr. Miller, if I don't want to cause trouble, I'm going to leave." He offers to leave. And things are getting heated. Where Archie says again, he's more FBI talk here about getting the FBI down here, which again would make for a very unhappy Christmas.
Yeah. Speaking of which, Archie, prototypical Scrooge.
Oh, I'm glad you said that. Yes, he is.
Right. We almost forgot.
Yes, very Scrooge-like.
I'd say Archie Bunker is like a classic sort of Scrooge figure.
That'd be hilarious if they never did this. If All in the Family did like a Scrooge-style episode of like the family being three ghosts. That'd be kind of funny. Okay, anyway, so things are getting heated. Again, more FBI talk. And pretty much Archie, then in this line, he's getting real loud here. It says, "No more talk about war. No more talk about that war." This is when Carol Connor's really stretching his acting chops. He's just
this is definitely the best acting of the episode.
When Archie Bunker gets this isn't like just comedy Archie Bunker. This is serious. This is like a little bit out of the usual thing. Not out of the usual. This is like when you get to a big important episode. It's the mark of it. When Archie Bunker really just gets really serious. It's saying, "No more talk about that war," because Pinky's at the table. He really cares about his friend.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's not about that. What he's done was wrong. It's not about the war. What he's done was wrong. Deserting and draft dodging. Draft dodging. He couldn't get. Basically, again, he has like this a dumb line, but with seriousness behind it in his meaning. He's saying, if no one went to war, no one can get a decent war off the ground without forcing people to go.
Yeah, it's kind of a line where it's like he means well, but yeah, as the Joker would say, very poor choice of words. Yeah, so it's like Archie is essentially saying, we can't. This is using the word decent war. It's like it's in point. Again, the smart thing All in the Family does with the issues here is they're pointing out the actual points of the issue and showing both sides, but Archie's kind of misrepresenting the wrong side in the situation. Mm-hmm. He's basically making the point, but he's delivering it so hilariously that people realize, maybe it's not as up to snuff as it seems on paper when you think about it. Just, you can't get a decent war off the ground without forcing people to go. Of course, no one wants to go to war. That's even better. But Archie isn't quite getting that. Oh, God. So, let's see. So, also, there's a good line here, like say Archie. Again, so Archie's making a somewhat compelling argument. Again, obviously, at the end of the day, we're probably going to scoot more away from Archie, definitely. Mm-hmm. But he's actually raising the points of the issue. So again, the episode's not one-sided. It is showing the legitimate points of the issue, which you got to appreciate. So basically, Archie's saying here, if the kids don't, like, he's joking with, not joking with, he's pointing out the Pinky, like just pointing how ridiculous the other side of it sounds. That, well, if the kids don't want to go to war, basically the kids don't want to go to war and get killed. We leave it to the old guys. What are they going to do in the war? Oh God.
Essentially, that is what he's saying. Maybe not in that manner. We're saying, well,
right.
If the kids don't want to go to war, we send the old guys. You're going to get killed faster. It's a no-win situation. So again, it's a legitimate point to some degree.
Yeah, but he's really blowing up about it. I mean, like you said,
He
he's
is.
really kind of pulling out his acting because he's genuinely upset.
And then Pinky, oh man, then Pinky
Oh,
kind of
boy.
brings the house down here now. Now Pinky steps into the
You
episode.
want to talk about what David said is a mic drop moment. This is even more of a mic drop moment.
Yeah, Pinky wins the holiday Emmy here. So Pinky, he says, "Well, does my opinion count for anything, Arch?" She says,
"Yes, of course your opinion counts. Your opinion's more important than anyone in this room. You tell him, Pinky. You tell him." I love how Archie, he's just like so expecting Pinky to just go off on him.
I love as it looks like he's yelling at him, but then he's just saying really supportive things to him. I just love it. Of course your opinion counts. Your opinion counts more than anything in this room. What you say, no. I don't want to be an idiot not to agree with you. What do you say? He's also setting himself up with that. So then Pinky, oh man, he says, well, my son did what he thought he had to do. Basically, my son did what he thought he had to do, and I assume David did the same. And David's here. If Steve were here, he'd want to have dinner with Steve. Sorry, if Steve were here, he'd want to have dinner with David. And I want to also.
And then the audience gives a freaking great, like, genuine reaction to it.
And then, like, it's also they just shake hands and say Merry Christmas like they did earlier when they first met. Oh, that's sweet. That's awesome.
Another big applause. Yeah.
Yeah, then they all cheer like, hooray, happy ending, but not quite.
All is not well quite yet.
Oh, we haven't wrapped up all loose ends. Scrooge hasn't waken up yet. We still got the guy in the long hood.
Oh,
Yeah, we still got Christmas future to deal with. So Edith says, Edith again preoccupied with the meal says, I think we ought to eat now.
She's literally shaking too. Like, good acting on her part. Because you can tell she's like kind of shaken up by this whole thing.
Gene Stapleton, yeah, fantastic actress. Oh, fantastic. It's always a shame they had to kill her off, but she didn't want to do Edith that long. They had to write her out at some point.
Right.
Anyway, so then Archie can't eat again. The guy who's been like all fixated on the meal second to Edith. He can't eat because this has been a boiling issue. And he can't just, again, Archie being the guy he is, he's not really going to be the guy saying, okay, I was wrong, let's eat. He says, no, I got to mull this over. I can't eat now. I have too much stuff running on my mind. I just blew up. I can't get over that, which is a realistic thing,
Yeah.
It's a bit of pride, bit of Walter White-esque pride, but also a bit of, a bit of pride, but also a bit of just processing, genuine processing here.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see what else.
Well, and then, of course, there's a great gag where it's like, Edith's just like, oh, there's a drumstick for you, Archie. And then Archie, as you said, he's just like, oh, I'm not hungry, Edith. And then Mike, he's just like, oh, I'll take it, Ma. Leave it on the plate.
It's still for me.
Oh, God.
Yep. Yeah, the drums. Leave it on the plate. Okay, so Archie, essentially, as he's processing, he just says, he's walking like a little closer towards the door. Looks like he's going to leave. Then he says, look, we're going to eat. But afterwards, I got to work this out. Remind me, Edith. I'll remind you, Archie. And he says, eat. And they all agree to eat. And then we have, again, the only way you can end the episode. A bit of hilarity, but also a bit of, in the midst of seriousness. It's not a hugging, like an all happy ending, but it's a meaningful.
No, not really. Not really. It's kind of somber.
Yeah, but still, it's impressive, though. They want that right.
Yeah.
So basically, then we hear carolers as they're trying to, like, in any Christmas setting, they're trying to sit down, like, even with, like, nowadays with the phones and stuff, you try to sit down and eat. You either get a call, or in this case, you get carolers. Like, Archie's like, He gets up, he opens the doors, says, will you keep it down, will you? And then they kind of takes a moment, kind of scales it back a little. Again, this shows you Archie. The point of this moment, too, is showing you Archie has changed a little bit.
Sure.
So he has. This is as close to a Scrooge ending he has. So basically,
I mean, he's still threatening to call the cops, but he's just doing it in a nice way.
Listen, just keep it down. I don't want to call the cops. And then, what is the last visual of the episode, Tiki?
It's a wreath
that says.
I don't know. What does it say?
Peace.
Merry
It says
Christmas,
peace.
I'm assuming.
No, it says
peace. Yeah, you're right. I'm sorry. Yeah, really good. All right. And now, if I can turn my webcam on long enough for me to not freeze, hopefully. Okay, final thoughts on that episode?
Oh, it's a really good one. You know, it was a really gutsy move not to end with like everything is fine and dandy, but they had some powerful stuff going on there.
Oh, I totally agree. I wasn't expecting that ending at all, but I guess I should expect it for something like All in the Family, and I need to watch more of this show because, you know, it's such classic TV. It's kind of the foundation and building blocks for a lot of things. So I feel like this was a good education for me. I'm glad you suggested this, and I'm even more looking forward to the one that we have coming up. But anyways, you want to set up the list?
Sure. So, folks, you know, this time around we're keeping a list of what we've been going through, and you know, so we kind of list off what we have evolved, you know, what we're talking about, and by the end we're going to list off like how far we've come. So,
right, so far we have Rugrats, Let It Snow. Then we have Invasion of the Secret Santas from Batman Brave and the Bold. Let's see, we have I Love Lucy Christmas Show, The Bells of Fraggle Rock, Rocket Xmas, and then
the Weekly Miller plays songs you make it.
Draft Dodger. All right. Okay, so with that in mind, before we go, we'd like to take a peek underneath the wrapping paper. You know, another look at the next day on the Advent calendar, if you will. And, you know, we're going to see what's next on Christmas in July. What's next? What's next? That's what we're here to find out. That's what we want to find out. Yes. What's next?
Well, I believe if I'm picking at the right present, it should be Adventure Time.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, we'll go with that. Yeah, Adventure Time's next. Absolutely.
Okay, that's next on the docket. Not for me, but for Tiki and the man who shares half of that show's name in his name.
You're missing out.
Nah.
Seriously, come on. God damn it, I planned this whole thing with Adventure Blue Dude, and he was going to come on and interrupt me, and he's watching right now, and he's not coming on. That's why I was stalling.
Oh, I thought you were stalling because you wanted me to say what it was.
No. I was stalling because it was... There we go. Hey, way to be late with the joke. All right. You're a little late, my friend. You're a little late.
Well, I wasn't sure when you wanted me.
I literally told you that I wanted you to interrupt me, remember?
You told me that you wanted me when you were going over the stuff coming up, and you were talking about the stuff that you did.
Yeah, and I was like, I was trying to drag out like, okay, what we have coming up. Well, the episode coming up is...
You were talking about the stuff you did. Also, by the time you got to there, I was still loading, trying to get in.
Fair enough.
You should leave with that next time. You're looking for excuses. Adventure Blue didn't might help you out.
Right. Well, that wasn't the most planned out. But you did get your accordion in, so that's the important thing.
That's all that matters in the end.
All right, so what episode are we going to be doing, Adventure Blue Dude?
Holly Jolly Secrets.
Oh, yes. This is a two-part Adventure Time episode, and it's very unconventional. We'll get into that. Adventure Blue Dude, do you have any thoughts at all about All in the Family? Nope.
I've been meaning to watch it, and I have not.
All right, fair enough. So,
no present for you.
Okay.
Cole.
No, he doesn't get Cole. He gets a squirting Santa.
I have a present for both of you.
Oh, dear.
Is it musical? Yeah, it is. Not my tempo.
I don't know.
It's not my fucking tempo!
Okay.
Little Ricky, are you rushing or are you dragging?
Alright, it's a running gag.
Why are you looking at the phone? There's no mouse button there! right.
All right.
So, Christmas in July. Christmas in July. What we're here to do, we're here to break down all the Christmas tropes. BlueDragonFive, you want to do that really quick? Because we never really did with All in the Family.
Oh, right, yeah, just like what we...
Yeah, really quick. So we got the Christmas dinner. We got the unexpected guest.
Archie is our Scrooge, and
Archie's
the arc
Scrooge.
not being crazy about our draft dodge of the episode, but he kind of comes to a point of, like, he's going to try to understand, and of course with the killers at the ending, he's just saying he hasn't changed that much, but he's still like, well, he lowers the voice a little. That's pretty much all you can ask for with Archie Bunker.
Yeah, right. Okay, fair enough. And like I said, with all that, I'd say this episode actually doesn't have that many traditional Christmas tropes, but I'd say that's probably a mark on All in the Family for being a very groundbreaking kind of bar-pushing show. Would you say that's accurate?
Yeah, but also you got kind of like the quirky gift. We got that for another trope there. But yeah, you're right though.
Now, it's lip smooth, but you don't want to look at that because it's kind of disgusting.
Yeah, you don't want to look at that there because that's disgusting. And what you want to do is down here and then squeeze a little Santa Claus died there.
All right, but yeah, we categorize, we list them, we go over, and we try to find the perfect ingredient for Christmas specials because, gosh darn it, that's just what we want to do.
And how would we go about that scientific process? How in the world, what would we call this mystical scientific process with accordion music? What would we call it?
We're calling it putting the mistletoe underneath the microscope. Next time on Christmas in July.
La 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 la. There's another.
Oh, he's from Canada!